Before I begin, I would like you to imagine something. Imagine the country of Canada. It's a pretty big country, right? Now imagine the 3 million lakes that are within this country, and the fact that some of their malls are so large that they contain amusement parks within them. It's crazy, right? Now imagine a group of people that is so large that it completely outshines the population of Canada. Now this group of people is not one that many want to join, for they live a little bit different lifestyle than most of us. Um, So who am I talking about? I'm talking about a group of 72.5 million people who suffer from obesity today. Now this is a really big number, so let me put it in perspective for you. This is enough people to completely outshine the population of Canada by 2.5 times almost. That's a lot of people. So now, imagine Canada again, except this time include the 72.5 million people who today suffer from obesity. Changes your perspective a little bit. Now, it's understood that obesity is a major problem in today's society, but why? What causes this thing that claims hundreds of lives a day just because of the illnesses associated with it? Sadly, I don't have a short answer for you, but obesity is caused because of genetics and lifestyle choices along with many other things. However, what I can tell you is that when you go to Red Robin and you order your favorite double bacon cheeseburger that's made with half-pound patties, special sauce, bottomless fries, of course, you're not helping your body. You see, as much as we think we need that much food in one sitting, we really don't. But as the years have gone by, restaurants have kind of gone by the bigger is better policy, and they've kind of thrown any recognition of portion sizes out the door. Now, for most of us, we say, I've got my money's worth, or what's wrong with more food? There really is something wrong. In a study that was shown in 1990, there was a map of the United States, and it was color-coded by the percentage of people with obesity in each state. And in that year, the highest was 10 to 14%. Now, 8 years later, in 1998, they redid the survey, and they found that the highest was 20 to 24%. So in an 8-year time frame, it went up 10%. That doesn't look too promising. Now, the real disappointment came from 2006 when they redid the survey yet again, and they found that some states were reaching above the 30th percentile, which just shows that it keeps growing over the years. And this was in 2006, so now in 2014, it is probably much larger. Now, I know that not all of today's obesity is caused by large portions in restaurants, but as a large contributor, restaurants are not helping the problem. And as I said, many people think this is a positive. They say, oh, I'm getting more food. What's wrong with this? Now, try to think of it this way. The human stomach is about the size of 2 fists stacked on top of each other. It's about that big. Now try and imagine the food on your plate next time you go to a restaurant. Does that look like it can fit into your hands? I have pretty small hands, so I know that I'm probably eating too much, and if you've got big hands, then you're probably thinking you're in luck. But I'm sorry to say, you're not. We all need to eat portion sizes. So now let's just take a moment to walk through a scenario. We've all had this moment when we're sitting at our favorite restaurant waiting for our food and we see all the other customers' food go walking by us. I know when the food comes to our table we say, oh my gosh, this is huge, there's no way I can finish it. Well, the truth is you really shouldn't eat it all. Something I'd like to point out to you is that you really shouldn't eat until you're full. If you eat the right portion sizes, you will not be full. It's not a good thing to be full. See, when you eat until you're full, you really are eating until you're full. This meaning that you don't leave any room in your stomach for gases or water or anything needed for digestion. So your stomach has to expand like a water balloon to accommodate all those extras needed for digestion. And when it does this, it's not healthy, and you kind of get used to it in a way that you begin to associate this feeling of being full with being done with your meal, and it becomes a habit. So when you do this, you are not only overeating, but if you're not doing the correct precautions and making the right lifestyle choices, then you could just be leading yourself down the road to obesity. The point I'm trying to make here is that portion sizes were made for a reason. The correct serving sizes are there to keep your stomach from having to stretch and getting too full, and they're not going to starve you. They are there and they're made to give you the correct nutrients that you need and to make sure your body stays healthy. So sadly, restaurants to this day continue to increase their portion sizes without acknowledging the effects that they're having on society today. So many restaurants, in fact, have gone with the If you have bigger portions, you get bigger profit, you get bigger customers, you make more money. It's a good thing. However, facts cannot be ignored. With the United States being the biggest Big Mac consumer within the world, it's clear that we like our burgers. However, in a study by the University of North Carolina at Capitol Hill, it was found that over the last 20 years, food has increased a lot. Burgers themselves have increased by 23%, a plate of Mexican food by 27%, soda, like the glasses that you can get at 7-Eleven or so, by 52%, and the bags of processed food like chips and pretzels and sunflower seeds and all that by about 60%. So yes, food has gotten bigger, but so have the calories with the food. So an example would be a cheeseburger from 1977. Now it has about 131 more calories just because they've increased the size so much. You can't increase size without increasing calories. And so when you make it bigger, you get more calories. You get more calories, you have to do more to work it off and to stay healthy. But the problem is, in America today, as you can see, as the 72.5 million obesity people just don't do what you need to do to burn this off and to make it okay to eat this much. So if people are eating in outrageous amounts and thinking that it's okay, they just are unaware of the problem or they choose to ignore it. But I'm telling you right now that unless you're the type of person who stops eating halfway through your meal at a restaurant and takes the rest home in a to-go box, which I know most of us don't, I personally don't, that you're probably overeating at restaurants. And with how dramatic the increase has been, it's not predicted that restaurants are going to stop increasing their portion sizes. It's going to keep getting worse, and you can see this as you look at the famous 7-Eleven Big Gulp. I know when I was young and I would go with my cousins, they were the 30-ounce cups. And now they have the Team Big Gulp, which is a 128-ounce cup. And that is more than the human bladder can hold, and it's not healthy for your body, and nobody should drink that much of that anyway. It's not good for you. So yes, portions nowadays are much larger than they used to be, but in order to fix this problem, everyone must know what the correct portion sizes really are. So on average, a person who exercises about 30 minutes a day, which is not a whole lot, but if you exercise more, you should take in more calories, obviously. But they should have about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of fruit, which is about the size of 2 bananas or 2 large oranges. They should also have 2.5 to 3 cups of veggies, so like 3 ears of corn, or 5 cups about this size of lettuce. They should have 6 to 8 ounces of grain, which is like 3 cups of rice, about this size. This is 1 serving of rice, or 3 large biscuits that would be a little fluffier than this because this is plastic. So you can see it's quite a bit different than we typically see. And remember, this is for the whole day, not just for one meal sitting. So it is quite a bit different. So let's continue. When it comes to protein like meat or beans or nuts or any of that stuff, people should eat about 5 to 6.5 ounces a day. So like 1 small chicken breast would be an example of this, or like 3 cups of bean soup. Or like in a hamburger patty, this is about the size that it should be. You're not supposed to have the giant New York steaks that we see. Those are not the correct portion sizes at all. So you're supposed to also have 3 cups of dairy, which would be like 6 pieces of processed cheese, or 3 cups is obviously still 3 cups of milk. Or for your oils, you need to have 5 to 7 teaspoons, which is about this size. You can have 5 to 7 of these a day. So that'd be your 5 teaspoons of dressing, or surprisingly, avocados have a lot of oil in them. So like 1 avocado or 5 teaspoons or tablespoons of dressing. But that's for your entire day, so you might not want to waste it on that. So now, what do these daily servings tell you about restaurants? Well, when you go to restaurants, you typically get about 10 ounces of meat, half a plate of veggies, and another big portion of something like mashed potatoes or something. So a healthier version of this meal would be to fill half the plate with a healthy vegetable like broccoli, have about 5 ounces of meat, and maybe half a scoop of mashed potatoes. Sadly, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, people eat more when they are given larger portion sizes. It's a proven fact. So it's not saying that people are necessarily aware that they eat portions that are much too large. It's simply saying that it's in human nature to eat what we are given. This theory was proven in a recent study, actually. They took 180 adults and they served half of them a 9-ounce scoop of macaroni and cheese, and they served the other half a 13-ounce scoop of macaroni and cheese. And they all cleared their plates, so the people who ate the 13 ounces actually ate 43% more, and they gained 172 more calories than the others. But I brought up an idea called a unit bias, which pretty much says that us humans have a psychological need to, whether we're hungry or not, finish what's on our plate. And we don't like to have leftovers. We like to finish it, we feel like we need to. So this study just goes to show that by increasing portion sizes, restaurants can kind of get away with doing this. And since they give us the more food, we pay for it, and they just keep raising the price, raising the amount of food, and we do go for it, so they end up profiting from it. So now we know the problem, we know what the portions should be, and now we have one big question. How do we fix it? So looking at this problem, you may think the solution could be simple, but that's not really the case because people don't always cooperate with each other, and with having this many restaurants in the world and the FDA and everything, it is not likely that everybody will cooperate on the exact same thing and agree on a solution. So the easiest solution that I personally can think of would be to create a national standard for serving size that restaurants have to follow. By doing this, restaurants would be forced to provide healthy servings, just as they have to check specific temperatures for their food, follow expiration dates, and dress appropriately in their workplace. If this change was to happen, it wouldn't be asking too much. The only difference would be that the health inspector would have one more box to check. But of course, you're going to have people who say restaurants aren't the only cause, this isn't going to fix obesity. I'm not saying that this is going to fix obesity, but it could help. By getting rid of portions that are too big, it eliminates a contributor to the problem. So restaurants have actually decided to try this, like TGI Fridays tried it. They created a right portion, right price menu. But the thing is, people are naturally opposed to change. People do get used to things, but it does take time. I think the standard should be applied for at least a couple years to kind of see if the percentage of obesity does drop at all. And if it does, then I feel like it should be kept. And if not, then we just can't ignore it. We have to try something because obesity is a growing problem and it's not getting any better if nobody tries anything, as we've seen in the maps that show that it can go 10% in 8 years, if not more. Obesity is a problem. We know that. It has grown to extremes when you see that car seat manufacturers are now making larger car seats because 250,000 children under the age of 6 are too overweight to use normal ones. That's when you know a problem, when it's targeting people under the age of 6 rather than just adults. So just take a moment to think about this. Over 250,000 children under the age of 6 were too overweight to sit in a car seat. That right there is proof that you cannot ignore obesity as a problem. So before I conclude, I want to leave you with one challenging thought. The next time you go to your favorite restaurant, stack your hands on top of each other, if you will, and just compare them to the size of your meal. Remember that this is your stomach. You don't want to overpack it. It's not good for you. Remember the portion sizes. Remember the increase of portions over the years. And ultimately, remember that you don't want to be one of those 72.5 million people who are suffering from obesity. Thank you.